Hi everyone, Engineer Liu here. How are you doing? Well, in this video I would like to talk about an issue regarding one of the mainly used functions frequently used function in C, which is scanf. As some of you may already know, scanf is unsafe. It's prone to buffer overflow, and I will show you how. And I would like to talk about alternatives to scanf in the C programming language. Okay, so first things first, let's define a buffer size. Let's call it 8 bytes for now. Okay, and we declare a buffer with the size buffer size. This is a preprocessor directive. We talked about that already. So basically it would substitute all of these when compiling. It would substitute all these strings here for 8. So that's basically it. So we print the user for enter a string. Okay, and then we use scanf to read the string, and then we store it. We store it in the address of buffer, right? And then we can say you typed the following. We print the string, and yeah, that's it. Now we compile. Okay, so we got a compiler warning. Format expects a write char. I think that will do. Yeah. So that's it. We can run it. And let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, and okay, we are inside a buffer size. So let's say hello world. So you type the following: hello. Okay, now we are getting some issues. Let's type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and it worked. Let's try with 1, 2, 3, 4 with a space. Yeah, it seems to be ignoring white spaces. So let's try it again. Hello world. Yeah. Now we got a. It seems to be ignoring white spaces, but then here we got a string which has more than 8 bytes. So see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and it detected stack smashing, right? So yeah, what we could do, let's try the following. Let's initialize this without a predefined size. Okay, so array size is missing, buffer. So we initialize it to a new an empty array, an empty string, and yeah, we got stack smashing detected. So here basically C will initialize this to a number of characters. So let's try by initializing a pointer, and 2, 3, 4. You type the following rule. So we didn't allocate memory for it. So yeah, we got this problem. So let's try by allocating a buffer equals we cast it to char malloc buffer size times size of char, and then here the free buffer. Okay, let's try it with 1, 2, 3. Let's try with hello world. Okay, so let's try with yeah, it seems to be ignoring hello. Yeah, so now you see what's is the issue here. We typed hello, this is a string here, and then we had 8 bytes allocated. So yeah, and then when printed the string, we got this plus this. So yeah, we got a buffer overflow here, right? So let's try it again. Hello. So we are far exceeding the 8 bytes allocated here. Okay. So yeah, you type the following, so yeah, here as you can see we are already modifying the contents of our buffer here, right? And that's buffer overflow and yeah, undefined behavior. So how can we address that? Well, there are several ways we can address this. So let me get rid of this malloc here first. And yeah, this free here we won't be needing. What we can do is actually we declare a buffer. Let's call it size simply. Let's not be too verbose, right? So instead of using scanf, we can use a function called f get string. Which basically takes for argument a buffer, and then it takes the size of buffer, and also it will read from the standard input. Okay, so this function is actually pretty similar to fprintf. Then it will print to the standard output and a buffer, so that's basically it. And I believe like this we can avoid buffer overflows, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, here as you can see already we got only up to 7 plus the no terminating character. So this is one way we can avoid a buffer overflow. So let's try it. If instead of having a buffer like this, we had a pointer, right? We allocate memory for it, like malloc. Actually, need to cast it. So malloc size times size of char. And then we free our buffer like so. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so it works for both ways for avoiding buffer overflows. So yeah, this function gets the job done. We have some other alternatives for scanf, like in some compilers. I'm not sure if if this is only supported on Linux, or you can have on other systems as well. But we can do the following: use scanf. Okay. for our buffer. Actually, we won't be needing this size, but I'll leave it here for other examples. We use scanf, and then we use this modifier here, which is s for the string. And then, as always, we store in a buffer, so we pass a pointer to the pointer of the buffer. Okay, and this m here basically will allocate dynamic memory for it, and then afterwards we have to free a buffer as always. So yeah, let's start to compile, run. So 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, and let's try to write a really long string to see if there's any risk of buffer overruns. So yeah, we didn't get as previously a buffer overflow, so this is one way to avoid a buffer overflow. So there is this option, so I will write the other option, which is f get string, and then we have our buffer size of buffer, and then standard input like so. So let me check if this, yeah, you have buffer size of buffer, and then scanf with memory allocation, and also so make a buffer actually here it will be a string, and then buffer and save. So okay, save. Also this option is save. If you're using Microsoft Windows for this, you have a function called let me check here because I'm not quite sure about it. Yeah, you have a function called s scanf underscore s, which will take a, yeah, let me check the documentation for this because I'm not really familiar. So yeah, so basically from Windows you have this scanf, which formatted data from the string. This version as scanf have security enhancements. Okay, so it will be, if you're using C, compiling C using MSVC compiler from Microsoft, it will be a safer version. Okay, so we have as scanf, and yeah, here it describes all, has all the documentation for this function. So this will be specifically for Windows. So since we are on Linux, we will explore other options that we have, and I believe we have still one option to go, and it will be where is it? Yeah, we can use the so-called scanf. So it basically would take our buffer here, right? And then we read, for example, a string, and then we store it, the pointer to our string. Okay, so very much like scanf here, but yeah, actually let me check right here. As scanf, so let me look for, so scanf, so it takes a string and then the format. So yeah, it takes the buffer as an argument here, I believe, so different than scanf. And then basically will be our first argument, and yeah, it will store in the buffer. Yeah. So Scanf doesn't actually read data from a standard input, but it can be used in that sense. For example, let's say you have an input like so. Let's say you have a numbers. You have a string of 3 integers like that, and then you want to store them, like for example in the int a and b c integers, and we're using scanf, scanf, you can use them, store them in a buffer, and then you have to specify like when using formatting input, like use in printf and scanf, and also as printf and so on. And then basically you have to pass the equivalent number of arguments here, specify the pointers to where you actually want to store them. So yeah, and then we can let's say print, let me comment this line here. We can print then a is equal to b is equal to, and c, we pass a, b, and c. So it works similar to scanf, but oops, what went wrong here? Buffer, oh yeah, actually here we had to read from the input, right? So it's a way to format data and parse data. It can be really useful, but it isn't isn't too much related to actually let me separate this. So here, and well, we have still other alternative to read data from the standard input, and it is like scanf unsafe, so we shouldn't use it. So I guess I will put it here. It will be a function called getString, and it's similar to a function getString, but it doesn't check. It does not take a second argument for checking the size of the buffer, so avoiding buffer overflows. So yeah, basically we have a buffer and then standard input like so. So if you check for man gets, yeah, he only takes the buffer as an argument, so yeah, we don't actually need a standard to specify standard input. And yeah, let me declare like so, and then we have a buffer of size 8 bytes. Yeah, so the compiler is warning us that Actually here we should include, I guess, string.h, right? Implicit decoration, which library is this? So let me check. It is from standard IO. Okay, so we don't need string.h here. So yeah, the compiler is warning us. Okay, implicit declaration function gets, and it warns us, warning, the get string function is dangerous and should not be used. So yeah, we can completely forget about this. And so yeah, it's unsafe. It's sure to get us buffer overflows, right? So basically our options are fget string, which checks for the size of the buffer and avoids buffer overflows, or we can use Scanf with this modifier here, which then will allocate dynamic memory, right? So yeah, just remembering when you use this option here with the m modifier, you have to free the buffer afterwards because you would have memory allocated, right? So be careful when using this one. I would recommend sticking to fget string, which is, it doesn't allocate memory, and make sure that your input is within a certain limits of buffer size. So, right? I hope you will like this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, activate notifications, and see you next time. Bye.